Hi, my name is Dr. Tian Chi, and I'm Assistant Professor of Mathematics at MSU Billings. Welcome to Stat 216, Introductory Statistics. This is an introductory video to walk us through what we're going to be doing this summer and what the format for the class will likely be like and how practically you should navigate the course, as well as what we will be doing for this class and what sort of things we'll be looking at. So, the question you might be asking yourself at this moment while you're taking this class is, what is introductory statistics beyond, a course that you have to take for your major or for general ed? So, as is the case, typically in this class, most of you are not math majors. You're some sort of social or physical scientist or business major of some sort. And for that reason, your interest in statistics and the interest of the reason you'd be taking such a class is to have some sort of practical application or use of statistics to analyze some sort of real world event. And so the format of the class is broken down into 3 modules, which we can see down here. Let's just go to the content browser here. That might be better for this. In the first modules, chapters 1 and 2, what we'll be looking at is the basic language of which statistics is spoken. Data and the properties of data, as well as probability, right? What the goal, our end goal in this class is going to be able to take some sort of information that we gathered from the real world, and from that try to make some sort of prediction. And those predictions are never going to be dead on, because the way we gather data will always be an imperfect view of the world, but the goal will be to be able to express the accuracy of our predictions in terms of probabilities. So in the first chapter, or the first 2 chapters, what we're going to be doing is familiarizing ourselves with the language of data and probability. And as you can see here in the D2L shells, there are videos that I've recorded on the various topics within these chapters, handouts on the topics within the course, and slides that you can follow along on these chapters. The second module, chapters 3 and 4, are about the particular type of probability and inferential techniques that will be focused on in this course. So in the first module, we'll talk broadly about probability, but in these chapters, we'll focus on the type of probability that naturally occurs when we take statistical samplings. And as before, there are videos, handouts, and slides on all of that. And in the third module will be practical applications. Right? In chapters 3 and 4, we lay out the theoretical foundations on which our inferential techniques will be based. And the last few chapters, we will apply that practically. If you're given a bunch of data and you know how it's collected or what sort of data that is, what sort of predictions you can make about that data, and how practically you can measure the likely accuracy of those predictions. So those are roughly speaking, the 3 sort of things that we'll be looking at in this class. And you can see that I've already populated the D2L shell with videos and handouts on all of these subjects. But please, if there's any subjects or particular things you want to see more of, more handouts or more videos, a deep dive maybe into some of the homework problems or anything of that sort, don't hesitate to ask, and I will happily provide that. Alright, so I refer to these chapters 1 through 7 And this is the text that I'm using for this course. It's Open Intro Statistics. I'm going off of the 3rd edition, but the truth is you can purchase any edition of this text and it'll be fine, because the homework system that we're using for this course is not tied to the purchase of the text. So you can purchase whatever version of this, or used version, or borrow a used version if you want. And even better than that, another reason I chose this text is that if we go to their website, openintro.org, and there's a link in the syllabi to this website, you can download a PDF of this text for free. And so you don't have to purchase it at all. If you just want to use the PDF, that's perfectly fine. This is what the PDF looks like. And honestly, even if you buy a physical copy, and I know many of us prefer to read out of the physical copy, I would recommend downloading the PDF anyway, because the PDF is very well designed and very well situated to browsing and finding specific information. So we can see, right, the first 2 chapters, the first module, Intro to Data and Probability, the distributions of random variables and the foundations of inference are the theoretical underpinnings in the second module, and then inference for numerical, categorical, and linear regression is the final module of this course. And so if, for example, we were to click on, let's pick hypothesis testing, on the PDF is built in with hyperlinks, so that if you go to the table of contents, it'll jump you straight to whatever subject you want to get to. Whenever we see this icon here, it means that there's a link to a YouTube page provided by the authors. If we see this icon, it takes us to a copy of the slides, again provided by the author. And so, so even if your preference is to use the physical text, I encourage everyone to download the PDF so that you can have access to all of this stuff. And right, okay, moving on. So both the homework and the exams will be done through a third-party site called Edfinity. I chose Edfinity because it is a much more affordable option compared to things like MyMathLab or WebAssign or those sort of proprietary systems. There will be a link to join this particular course in the syllabi that you can use to register. You can purchase an access code either through the bookstore or directly through the site. It's slightly cheaper if you go directly to the site, and it's extremely modestly priced compared to other publishers. But what we see here, right, are the 7 chapters homeworks, and then the 3 exams, 1 for each module. The homeworks are worth 55% of the grade, and you're allowed unlimited retakes on the homework up until the due date. And the reason for that is I'm not interested in your ability to do something right the first time. My concern is that you're able to eventually understand what's going on in these problems. So let's take a look at maybe just the chapter 1 homework briefly. And so this is what it looks like on my side, but if I hit the preview, it'll kind of show you what it looks like Let me close that. From your end. And so what you have here is a navigation for the problems from that chapter. Um, you can go ahead. Some of these have drop down bars that you use to submit multiple choice questions, and some of these have numerical answers that they require. Once you're done answering, you hit the submit answer button, and then it will tell you which ones you got right and which ones you got wrong, at which point you can go ahead and try to re-attempt the problem with this information. So, having said all that, I don't have this button on my version of this because I am the instructor. But as a student, you would have a button down here that says contact instructor. If you are struggling with a problem, you don't know what to do, or you think you have a right answer and it's telling you that it's wrong, please click the contact instructor button and it will send me an email with your version of the problem, your most recently submitted solutions, and you are given the option to write me a message on that subject. So you can, if you think you got the right answer and you don't think that that it's letting you submit the right answer, you can go ahead and click the email instructor button. You can type in a note like, hey, I think the answer should be this. This is why. You hit send. I'll receive it. I'll be able to read it. Look at what you've submitted. Look at your version of the problem. And I can either tell you like, oh, there is an issue with this. Let me go and try to fix it. Or, hey, your answer's not quite what you think it is. Maybe you should think about this or try that. And here's something that you might want to look at. So, but either way, I encourage everyone to use this feature to get feedback from me as much as possible. And then maybe if you want to see a video of me working out a problem similar to the one you're working on, you can request that as well, and I can record one, post it in D2L for everyone's viewing. Alright. Homework has unlimited attempts up until the due dates, which are both in Infinity and D2O in the syllabus. For the exams, you will have 2 attempts up until the due date, and it will take the better of your 2 attempts. I recommend, of course, that you do all of the homework of that module before attempting the exam so that you are familiar with the content before you start. And please don't click on the exams until you're ready to take them, because once you click on it, that will trigger an attempt, and you only have 2. So if you do that by accident, let me know and I can try to fix that. But I ask you all to not do that if you can. All right. So a big part of why, for example, I chose this text and I chose this homework system is not merely because I think this is the best introductory statistics text in the market right now, but it's also because they are either free to download or modestly priced compared to other offerings. And in that spirit, I've tried to eliminate the need for a $150 graphing calculator in this course. I'll say without hesitation that TI calculators are complete garbage and a total waste of your money. They are expensive and clunky to use, and they haven't changed in functionality since I was in high school. And I graduated high school in 2001. And every other bit of technology on the planet has gotten cheaper and better since then, except for graphing calculators. So they're a total waste. Don't use them. That being said, I highly encourage the use of technology in this course. After all, this is a applications course where you'll be learning on how practically to look at data and make a assessment from them. And in practice, you wouldn't be doing this by hand or with pencil and paper. You would be using a computer or a machine to do this sort of stuff. And so what I've done on my website, so if you just click on my website, link is in the syllabus, and in D2O there's a direct link to the statistics subpage. I have tried to recreate all of the functionality that you would need from a graphing calculator with tools on my site. Now, bear in mind that you might see a lot of things on this site that you don't know what they are, or you don't know what you would use them for, and that's because this is a site that I use not just for my introductory statistics course, but also my 300 level stats course. So there's some things in here that are for them, but they fall under roughly the same categories. So let's, for example, take a look at basic data stats. What I have in here is a bunch of embedded Desmos and Sage calculators that you can use that would do the things that a TI calculator would do, and much more. And so, for example, I have a list of data here, just 18 data points. And what you see here is a visualization of that data, as well as its mean, right? That's the average that we see here. And what we can see from that is we can also get the population standard deviation, the variance, which is something you'd want to use in some cases. The sample standard deviation and variance, you can see it visualized here, and also see the exact numbers here, and a 5-number summary. And if you don't know what these things are, don't worry, this is what we cover in chapter 1. But I just wanted to point out that whereas in a different course or a different instructor might want you to put this in a calculator to give you these values, you can do it all from my website here. And of course, I can change the numbers up here. I can add more or less or whatever, and all of these values would change accordingly. And there will be a link here at the top of each site, so if I click on that, it'll bring you to a full screen version of that calculator so that it's easier to use if that's your preference. If you register a free Desmos account, you can also save the calculators as a graph here on the side. You can just go ahead and hit the save button. I haven't made any changes, so it won't let me do that, for easier reference. And this will be useful, if you're stuck or you don't know what you're doing and you're saying like, hey, I think I got the right answer. Could you take a look at what I'm doing? Oops. There will be a button here, share a graph. You can hit copy on that. And then you can post that in any emails or messages that you send me. And that way I could take a look at exactly what your numbers are and how you're trying to compute these things. And finally, a summary of all of these things is listed here in the syllabi, which will also be in the D2L show. So, I'm really excited to have you all as my students and to teach this course. I hope we all have a good time and learn a lot of statistics over the next few weeks. And the most important thing that I cannot stress enough is that if you're struggling at all with concepts, with the setup, with the technology, please contact me as soon as possible. If there's anything you require from me, if you need more handouts, more videos, anything of that nature, contact me. I'm here to help you. All right. Welcome to Stat 216.